So we all know by now that Canelo Alvarez's next fight will be against Edgar Berlanga. It's old news now, but I just want to give my take on it anyway. The whole Eubank Jr. thing, from the outside looking in, appears as though it may have just been a ruse. Now, Eddie Hearn has basically described it as a negotiation tactic. He represents Balanga. He was talking to Canelo's team the whole way through, and he basically said that they were constantly bringing up Eubank. Oh, Eubank's not asking for that much. He only wants this and blah, blah, blah. Eddie Hearn says that they were basically playing a game to try and get Balanga to accept less money, basically, or less favorable terms, because if he doesn't, then they're going to go fight Eubank Jr. instead. But fans have got a different notion on what may have been going on there. They think it's possible that the reason Canelo's team were talking about fighting Chris Eubank Jr. is to soften the blow of the Balanga fight, because very few fans were really calling for Canelo Alvarez versus Edgar Berlanga. The fight most of us wanted to see was Canelo versus David Benavidez, or at least Canelo versus David Morrell. So Canelo's team surely knew there would be some backlash fighting Balanga instead. So why not throw out a name who's even less deserving of a title opportunity than Edgar Berlanga in Chris Eubank Jr. and make it seem as though you're going to fight him when you actually have no intention of doing so, such that when you eventually announce that you're going to fight Balanga rather than Chris Eubank Jr., the public breathes a sigh of relief. Oh, well, at least it's not Eubank Jr. Berlanga is a career super middleweight and he is mandatory for one of the belts. Is that what happened here? You guys let me know what you think in the comment section below. Now, of the fight itself, part of me actually feels happy for Edgar Berlanga because this was his dream all along, to fight Canelo Alvarez. He's been talking about this fight for years, and I've always seen him as an accident waiting to happen. He's a brave guy. He's shown that in his fights, but very limited from what I've seen over the years. If he'd fought David Morrell or David Benavidez, I would have expected Edgar Berlanga to get decimated by either of those guys. But they've subsequently moved up in weight, and Berlanga has got his dream opportunity against Canelo. So, as I say, I'm kind of happy for him. I'm not expecting him to be able to do much in the fight. He's going to show heart, I'm sure. He's a pretty good puncher. He's physically quite big. He's strong, but he's been hurt and down in the past at the hands of far lesser punchers than Canelo, far less accurate guys than Canelo as well. The only hope I give Berlanga in this fight is in the fact that he's been obsessed with Canelo for so long. That's the thing. He's been studying Canelo. He's essentially been preparing for this fight for several years. Whereas Canelo, I can't imagine, will have had any thoughts about Edgar Berlanga up until the past couple months. I don't think he's really been paying much attention to him at all. So there's a possible advantage there for Berlanga. But outside of that, in my mind, this is a surefire Canelo victory, maybe even more comfortable than the one he had against Jaime Munguia, because I don't think Berlanga can throw that many punches. Perhaps he hits a bit harder than Jaime Munguia, possibly, but I don't think he's as tough, he's not as fast, and I don't think he's as versatile as Munguia is even. So I'm expecting Canelo to win this fight. I'm not sure whether he'll stop Berlanga. He's definitely got the power to, but Canelo often doesn't press his advantage when he's got somebody hurt. He'll let him off the hook because he's mindful of his own stamina. But I do expect Berlanga to hit the canvas in the fight, nevertheless, at least once. So yeah, I'd go for Canelo UD. Is there the possibility that Canelo gets old overnight? I mean, maybe. You also got to think about Canelo's headspace, right? After the loss to Dimitri Bivol, he seems to have lost his appetite for tough challenges because he's been cherry picking ever since that fight. Can a guy who's in that kind of mindset, who's thinking more about money now than legacy fights, can he really be producing his best form? Surely you need to feel like you're up against it, like you're in real danger to get the best out of yourself when you're a fighter of that level and that type of experience. So, I don't know, maybe Canelo's complacent, doesn't train as hard as he should, goes in there and gets clipped by a big shot from Balanga, which hurts him. And it's been many, many, many years since Canelo Alvarez has been hurt. In fact, I can only ever recall him being hurt once in a fight, and that was against Miguel Cotto's brother on the undercard of Mayweather Mosley. That's the only time I've seen Canelo Alvarez's legs go in a fight. I'm sure he's been buzzed a little bit in other fights, but again, nothing too noticeable. But as you age, your punch resistance tends to deteriorate as a fighter. There are some exceptions, but generally that's how it goes. And so, is it possible that Balanga catches him with a right shot and causes a shock? It's possible, but I don't think it's probable. I'm expecting, as I say, a pretty comfortable Canelo win here. Maybe Balanga can have his moments here and there. He's young enough, he's got the energy, he's been planning for this fight, dreaming about this fight for years, but I don't think it will be enough. I just think he's too limited, Balanga. Defensively limited and even offensively limited. He's got power, yes, but I don't think there's a lot of creativity in his offense. I don't think there's a lot of subtlety in it. It's all crash, bang, wallop. And historically, those are the types of guys who Canelo Alvarez feasts upon. So that's my take on the fight, Canelo versus Edgar Berlanga. Am I selling Balanga short, guys? If you think I am, let me know in the comments. And also give me your take on the Eubank Jr. situation. Why was his name brought up as Canelo's potential next opponent? What was that really all about?